Hello friends, welcome. Indian quarantine guidelines. What every international passenger should know before flying to India. If you're planning to come to India from abroad, what are the policies or guidelines need to be followed? This a notice or a guideline which was issued on 5th November 2020, which is the recent one. Guidelines for international travel. Before planning for a travel, all travel should submit self-declaration form on the online portal www.newdelhiairport.in at least 72 hours before the scheduled travel or physically after the arrival at the respective health counter. They should also go a undertaking on the portal or otherwise Ministry of Civil Aviation Government of India through a concerned airlines before they are allowed to undertake a journey that would abide the decision to appropriate government authority. What you need to follow is just that you need to follow a 14 days home quarantine or the institutional quarantine. This is mentioned in undergoing a facility is nothing but the institutional quarantine. Only for a compelling reasons case of human distress such as people who are pregnant or death in the family or serious illness and parents with a children age of 10 are allowed for home quarantine. Others are not allowed, they should go for an institutional quarantine. If they wish to seek exemption under this, they shall apply under the online portal at least 70 hours before the boarding. Travelers you are traveling may also seek exemption from institutional quarantine by submitting a negative RT-PCR test report. That test should be conducted 72 hours prior to undertaking the journey. The test report should be uploaded in the portal consideration. Each passenger should also submit a declaration with respect to authenticity of the report will be liar. If you're giving a wrong report or wrong information, then there will be a criminal prosecution. International passenger arriving without RT-PCR negative certificate wishing to seek exemption from an institutional quarantine may also have the facility at the airport to undergo RT-PCR testing where such provision exists. All such passenger opting for exemption from institutional quarantine under Para 5 or Para 6 shall undertake a self-monitoring of their health and will be exempted from quarantine. International passenger arriving without RT-PCR negative certificate, not opting RT-PCR test at airport. If facility is available, arriving at the airport where testing facility is not available, you have to undergo a mandatory 7 days institutional quarantine and 7 days home quarantine. This new rules, why it has happened is because in the other abroad in Germany there are a lot of COVID symptoms are started, so that the new rules has been followed in India. The travelers who are coming from abroad, if they are affected, so they are checking it before you are entering the country. What are the before boarding? Do's and don'ts shall be provided along with the ticket to the traveler by the airlines and agency concerned. All passengers shall be advised to download Arogya Setu app on their mobile device. At the time of boarding the flight, only asymptomatic traveler will be allowed to board after thermal screening. That after thermal screening only they will be allowing into the boarding. Suitable precautionary measures such as environmental sanitation and disinfection shall be ensured at the airport. During boarding, all possible measures to ensure physical distancing are to be ensured. During traveler who are not filled self-declaration form on the portal shall fill the same in the duplicate in the flight and a copy of the same will be given to the health and immigration official present at the airport. Suitable announcement of COVID-19, including precautionary measures to be followed, shall be made at the airports and flights during transit. While on the boat, required precautions such as wearing of masks, environmental hygiene, respiratory hygiene, hand hygiene are to be observed by airline staff, crew, and all passengers. Once you are arriving at the airport, deboarding should be done ensuring a physical distancing, 6 feet distancing. and thermal scanning would be carried out in respect of all the passengers by the health official present at the airport. The self-declaration form filled online shall be shown, or a copy of a physical declaration form to be submitted at the airport L staff. The passenger found to be symptomatic during screening shall be immediately isolated and taken to the medical facility as per health protocol. Okay, if you have COVID, if you have symptoms, then they might be taking you to hospital immediately. Post thermal screening, the passenger who are exempted from institutional quarantine. Decision as indicated in the online portal in advance will show them to respective state counters on their cell phones and other modes before being allowed to quarantine for 14 days. Post thermal screening, the passenger who have RT-PCR negative certificate already with them shall be exempt from quarantine and shall be allowed to leave under self-monitoring for that is like 14 days home quarantine. Also, such passenger will also provide the list of national and state level surveillance officer and the respective call center number so as to inform state national call center in case they develop any symptoms during the time of self-monitoring their health. The remaining passengers shall be taken to a suitable institutional quarantine facilities to be arranged by the respective state and to undergo mandatory 7 days institutional quarantine and 7 days home quarantine. The passengers shall be kept under institutional quarantine for a minimum of 7 days. They shall be tested ICMR protocol. If they are asymptomatic and pre-symptomatic, very mild case, they will be allowed to home isolation. And these are the procedures. International passenger arriving at seaport or land port. International passengers who are arriving at seaports or land port will undergo a same protocol except the facilities of online registration is not available for such passengers currently. Such passengers shall submit self-declaration form to the concerned authority of the Government of India at seaports and land ports on the arrival. Note: states can have an additional restriction imposed with this regards to quarantine and isolation as per the field assessment post arrival of passenger is state concerned. If you're looking for an article about all this, there is one already complete detailed article which has been mentioned over here. If you want, the link will be given in the description. How long international passenger have to quarantine? Who are exempted from the mandatory institutional quarantine? What is the SOP qualifying for the exemption? And where you can quarantine after reaching India, which are the states, like for example in Mumbai, Delhi, which are the hotels has been mentioned, and Chennai, and state-wise quarantine guideline for international Telangana, Jammu and Kashmir, Andhra Pradesh requires all foreigners and expats to enroll in online portal Spandana APP. If you want home quarantine instant 14 days, you can take a rapid test or on arrival by paying 500 rupees. And at the Bangalore airport in Karnataka, asymptomatic international passenger will only need to home quarantine for 14 days. A SAP test is mandatory for short-term traveler and stay up to 7 days. All other symptomatic passenger for interstate traveler, there is no requirement of home quarantine as well. And these are the few state-wise quarantine rules has been mentioned. And if you want, this link will be provided in the description. You can read all this article completely. We have explained you on this. And if you do like, please like, share, subscribe, and thanks. And please do like and share with your friends and family members who are traveling from abroad to India. They need to watch it, and or else they will be stuck in the airport. And thank you.